I see you're looking at some Nautilus support. Well, you come to the right place, because you're about to learn about the greatest hooker of all time. I specifically said support because although he's been played mid lane, top lane, and in the past jungle, those roles aren't really looking too hot if you're not a pro player, so let's just focus on the role that he does have a positive win rate in. Now, even though I do still play him jungle from time to time to play him in his original intended role and to doom my team to an inevitable loss, but he was moved to bot lane for whatever reason. Probably because he's good in that lane. In my opinion, he's one of the easiest engaged supports to play, because god damn is that hook huge. But even if you do miss your hook, which is tough because it's a million miles wide, then you still have other forms of CC to help you win the fight. But you also do a ridiculous amount of damage for the early laning phase, so that helps too. Now first up, before we get into anything else, there are two types of runes that you can play on him. First, you can take this for some big bar boy tankiness, or you can take this if you want to add a fifth type of CC to that arsenal. The choice is yours, but it is safer to pick the bar boy option so you can cover yourself up when you make mistakes. Alright, now that we got the runes out of the way, let's get into those abilities. His Q makes him the ultimate hooker. He throws out a hook, and then the first enemy he hits, he brings him in for a nice little kiss. This isn't an unwanted kiss, because they meet you halfway. If you are trying to pull the enemy in for a nice kiss and you hit the wall or something, those don't move, so he goes all the way to the wall. Oh yeah, his passive makes you sit down. He pushes you down and keeps you in place. Like I said, he's the ultimate hooker, so he's ready to give you anything you want. Although he's ready to give you anything, his W is playing hard to get. You know it makes you want him more, especially when you see that low health under the tower. Oh, but look at that, he brought in protection for the incoming ability. His E slows it down. You don't want to be too fast, you want to make sure you have a good time. He's going to slow things down and make sure the enemy stays as long as possible. Lastly, we have his ult. You know what it is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Naut is the best hooker, and he makes sure he saves his ult for the finale. Naut is ready to knock you up in the air to make sure your team has a chance to join the fun. He's also so generous he'll knock up other enemy champions if they want to get in the middle of the fun. Alright, now that that's taken care of, let's check out some tips and builds for playing Nautilus. Alright, so we want to take this shield and mixed drinks because we want to make sure we have a good time in lane. And if we are feeling a little cheeky, we can go into the enemy's part of town and give them a good hook. But we don't have to. We have a good time ahead of us. And also most of the time the enemy expects it. So you do you. But once we are in lane, we want to be the ones hit level 2 first. So proc your shield passive so you can level up faster. Usually with a relatively weak ADC, you can still at least pull off a flash from one of the enemies if you hit a quick Q. Now technically if you want to be a good hooker, you want to level up that ability first. But man, do I really like to bring a lot of protection so I can keep going forever. It's okay, once you're as godlike as me, you're not going to miss any pulls anyway. No, don't. Now, once you have your abilities, you want to find that time to give the enemies the time of their life. Now, if your partner in crime is hurting for help, then maybe not the best time to engage, because they could just walk up and focus on your ADC. But you'll know when the time is right and the stars align and both of you are probably pretty healthy, that's the time then you want to be that good hooker. Hook them in, sit them down, slow them down, and put on some protection, because you are ready to party. Remember that your E is an auto attack reset, so make sure to take advantage of that to get some extra hooker service. You want to maximize the time that you have together. And once you get your ult, they'll love it so much they'll never want to leave. Ults will knock them up, and once they're to the moon and back, they need to take a little bit of time to recover, so they are stunned. And to make sure they're having the best possible time, you want to time your hook for when they're recovering from their knockup. Just make sure not to wait too long or they might get bored and walk away. But usually it's pretty good enough. Knock them up, hook them in, sit them down, give them a dance, slow it down, then give them some extra hooker service. Now we run a legitimate business here and we don't like peepers, so make sure to keep the lights on when you have the time. Nothing worse than having some come in to ruin your good time. And most low elo junglers will start red because it's a fast release, so usually you got 3 to 4 minutes of fun time before the peeper comes down. And it has been a while since he's ganked, so he's coming back down with blue. Just make sure those bushes are lit up for all them peepers. Now there are times where the enemy team is refusing to give you money for your fantastic services. For those, you want to wait for your pimp to come down so they can pay you what they owe. Now we don't discriminate, towers have good money too, so we give them the good Krauser. Now we're out of lane, so we're going to make sure to get this shoulder guard and some boots to make sure we look like some slutty cloud cosplayer and bring the business to other lanes. From there, just follow your pimp or your partner in crime around, and when it's about time to get money from those good Samaritans, just make sure to light up that place and be the best dang hooker you can be. Just make sure to save your knockup for the enemy with the most money, because you don't want to deal with those poor people. You want the big prize. Just remember the song from earlier. Alright, from there, just crowds in the enemy towers, forget your oracles, don't actually forget your oracles, and make sure that one single enemy on their team does not get to participate in team fights. Stonks. Honestly, builds for him are easy. Might as well just pick up one of these 2 items and let's just kind of build something tanky. Something like this. We did it! We won the game, and here's your trophy for being the best hooker. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the hottest man in League. Talk to you later!